Engineer Commando Veteran Phil Eastley has just returned from a bike packing trip from John O Groats to Land's End, raising money for Team Endeavour Wheelchair Rugby and Cycle Club. And Phil joins us in the studio. Hello.
Hi, Laura.
Thank you for coming in today. How long did this challenge take you?
Took us 14 days in total.
And were you sticking to a schedule? Did you hit those targets on time?
Yeah. I kept to the typical sort of military planning. I kept to a schedule, regardless of what kind of day I had, good or bad.
Yeah.
I would ensure I got to the end.
I've got to ask you why you did this. You know, you wake up one morning and think, I know what I'll do.
Good question. Started off, got a friend at the moment in America who's doing the Tour Divide, 2,500 miles over sort of 3-4 weeks. He asked me to come along, but it was 4 or 5 weeks and I couldn't take it off work. So I sort of went away disappointed, and then I thought to myself, hey, what can I do instead? So John O Groats to Land's End. Most people have heard of John O Groats to Land's End. And then I thought, what can I do in the form of sort of thing? I like riding a bike, and I'm getting into bike packing now, so I thought, let's do that.
Yeah.
So I sort of came up with that idea. Then I sort of thought about a charity to inspire me as much as the prestige of doing it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to do it for a charity. So that's why I did it, yeah.
So let's talk about this charity. You're raising money for Team Endeavour, Wheelchair Rugby and Cycle Club. Who are they? What's your connection?
So my brother-in-law, ex-military, got PTSD last year, and he struggled with it. He came out from a conflict going back many years, but from there, his immunity was weak and he got sepsis just out of the blue. So when he was just recovering, sepsis came along, and to cut long story short, he lost his legs, and a lot of people that would have impacted hugely. But I was inspired by Al's sort of reaction, the way he dealt with it. He moved forward very quickly, literally, and he took up wheelchair rugby in Plymouth, and from there, basically, he hasn't looked back. So that was my inspiration for the charity. So Team Endeavour, they meet up during the week, travel around the country playing wheelchair rugby. So it gives them that opportunity, a little bit of steam, bit of energy, social, technical, and enjoy life again, you know, from whatever injury they came along with.
Fair play to him as well for sort of grabbing life like that and going forward for it, because of his background and his experience. This must have been a massive shock, a life change for him and his abilities. Yeah,
very much so. He's taken up horse riding. He's got the wheelchair rugby.
Wow.
He's travelling. He's done some fundraising events himself, zip wires.
Goodness.
So he's now getting used to his prosthetic legs.
Yeah.
He's doing really well on that front. He's got a lot of support from his wife, my sister Sue. Yeah, he's digging out blind with everything at the moment. He's really trying everything. Every opportunity that comes his way, he's having a go.
What an inspiration for us all to hear a story like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, well done to him, and best of luck for the future. And I suppose that was part of the inspiration for you to take on this challenge as well, because if you think, well, if he can do that, then why don't I cycle from John O Groats to Land's End? How long did it take you to plan it? Did you have to do lots of research on locations and routes?
Yeah, so there's a couple of guidebooks out there. There's Cycle UK and there's a Cicerone guidebook. So I went for the optimal route of 14 days, sort of 60, 70, 80 miles a day. There was days at 90, 95.
Wow.
So and that's what I planned. So it took me basically January. I put an admin order together, planned it as much as I could, booked the accommodation in advance, made sure the bike was fit, and thank you to Michael Parker for making sure that happened, and just done as much as I could, and then it was all left to the gods from the 2nd of June when I started coming south.
What was the weather like while you were doing it?
It was superb. I mean, I had one bad day coming into England. I got wet in the morning, miserable day.
Welcome to England.
Yeah, welcome to England. But while you guys down in England were having the sunshine, having the rain, I was having the sunshine.
Oh, okay.
So it
worked out all right.
Yeah, it was superb.
I'm guessing your training over the years has helped with your planning for this as well. I mean, there are some things perhaps that you couldn't have planned for.
Yeah, you can't plan for the weather. You can't plan for the bike sort of failing. You can't plan for the body failing. So, but all those things sort of worked, and ultimately, from my side, being unsupported, I had people, even though I was unsupported, solo, on the way, who were also doing the same sort of challenge, shall we say, but also people to give me directions, give me a voice of encouragement. I even had a police escort out of the city.
Wow.
And in Warrington, I was having...
What had you done wrong?
Well, I had 3 cities. I had Preston, I had Wigan, and I had Warrington to cycle through and navigate through. And you can appreciate the hustle and bustle of the city. And I got to the point when I finally got to Warrington, I couldn't find my way out. It was getting late. I still had 20, 30 miles to do. And I saw this police lady there sitting in a car waiting for the next shout. And I said, look, I'm not desperate, but I need help. Trying to sort of hold myself together and avoid breaking down crying every time.
Can you show me the directions to Land's End?
I did better than that. I asked for directions, then she gave me directions. Then I said to her, what about a police escort? So next minute I'm getting taken out via a major city by a police car on my bike-packing bike, trying to keep off about 5-10 miles out of the city. But she was brilliant. She got me out of the city, she got me on route again, and I was very grateful for that. And she was lovely.
I guess every day was probably an adventure for you, wasn't it? Have you got a best moment, or was that it?
There was the best moment from the route perspective. I mean, the second day I went from Tongue, which is the top of the Highlands, all the way down to Onus, and it was a sort of a single track road. The sun was shining, the water was flowing, fresh water, beautiful scenery, stunning backdrop. And I had a German friend who I was riding with for 2 days, and he was wonderful. And we sort of hit it off. We singing Queen songs because he was about to go and see a concert. And it was just a wonderful experience because there wasn't the cars and the rush and the hustle of life. It was a moment that I treasured. It was brilliant. But the hard day I've already spoken about, which was the 3 cities. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience that second day. But every day, and what was so nice about the whole adventure was the changing in landscapes, but also the changing in regional accents.
Yes.
You know, I had the Scottish broad accents and your sort of northern accents and the Brommy accents, and then nicely moving down to Gloucester and the Somerset and the sort of Devon accents as well. So it was lovely.
Was there any moment when you thought, what have I done? Why am I doing this? Was there a low moment where you just thought, this is probably where I could give up? Yeah,
there was day 3, day 4. I was just about to come through Gretna Green, and it was pouring down with rain. I was cold. I was hungry. I just started about sort of 6 o'clock in the morning from a place called Muffet in Scotland. Trying to navigate as well. I was in country lanes, no one around, and I was thinking, why am I doing this? But strangely enough, I got to a town called Annan, which is near the border of between Scotland and England, and I went in there. People were great again in the cafes. They would fill my water bladder up. They would, you know, I'd have sometimes a free breakfast and a mug of coffee.
Hey.
And they would get changed, you know, recharge my kit, and then you look out the window and the sun comes out, and that just sums up life for me. It was a case of, you know, good times and bad times, but you get on with it. And the good times prevailed again because the sun came out. I felt good. I was about to meet my brother in Carlisle, and that sort of inspired me to carry on again. There was bad days, but there were always that sort of why I was doing it, and the why I was doing it is for Team Endeavour Wheelchair Rugby, to get some wheelchairs for them.
Was that always on your mind?
That was always on my mind, not letting people down.
Yeah. So let's talk about the money then. How much have you raised so far?
So £2,500.
Wow.
Just about. I think we're £83 short of that at the moment. And I have to thank, you know, my planning, of course, but my wife.
Yes.
I started making my way south. My wife Linda was sending daily sort of reports of what I was doing. So even though I was getting in 9-10 o'clock in the evening, quick phone call to my wife, and she would then sort of put together sort of a report of my daily sort of experiences, and she was very sort of authentic about that as well, and entertaining, so people then could follow it. And from what we saw from £1,000, suddenly we were generating more and more money from people, because I think they're inspired, they're interested in the story and in the adventure. We did very well. So we got just under £2,500 at the moment.
So just remind us then where that money will be spent, what it's going to go on.
Okay, so it's Team Endeavour Wheelchair Rugby. They are a charity organisation, but they bring together ex-servicemen, women and civilians who enable them to play sport. And this particular sport is wheelchair rugby. There is basketball and various other wheelchair sports, but this particular sport is wheelchair rugby. So their money's going towards buying another wheelchair, and they can range up to about £6,000–7,000. So a lot of the chairs they've got is loaned second hand. So they're going to buy a second hand chair for £2,500. But at least from my side, it's that contribution again towards the cause.
And the awareness that you're raising by talking to us about it, so that we're all aware of it from today. Is there somebody listening at the moment that thinks this is an incredible achievement? Well done, Phil. How can we still sponsor you? Can we still do that?
Yeah, if you go on to Team Endeavour Wheelchair Rugby and scroll down to the bottom of the website, you'll see various fundraising efforts by the team. Mine's at the top, and I'm pleased to announce that I'm the top fundraiser at the moment. It's gone quiet at the moment. We're sort of, as I said, we're just off £2,500. But if you go down and click on that link for John O Groats to Land's End, you should be able to donate if you so wish, or inspired, or want to join Team Endeavour Rugby Wheelchair. Then you're more than happy to have a look.
Do you think this challenge has changed you a bit too? Do you think it's taught you some things? I mean, your geography is fabulous because you're mentioning all these place names that I've not heard of, so well done with that. But do you think it's changed you as a person a little bit?
Massively. Again, we did speak earlier, but stepping out of your comfort zone occasionally, your routine of life, and then doing something a little bit unsure of, and you suddenly find yourself in harm's way. But I always find, and I've mentioned it a few times already, the whole adventure was supposedly to be unsupported, but I got so much support. Never alone, always a person on a street corner, always a person in a rural village, always a person in the city to give you advice, support, direction. So it changed me on that side. I believe just step out your comfort zone, and then you will learn a lot about yourself and the people around you.
I bet your wife was nervous while you were gone. I bet she was panicking.
She never doubted. She always said, even now, she says to me, she never doubted I would succeed. She never doubted that.
But it didn't stop her worrying.
It didn't stop her. Yeah, I mean, occasionally we came to about 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening, and we're like, still haven't had that phone call. Where is he?
Yeah.
What's happened? And then suddenly about 10 o'clock, I'd be a bit stressed and, a bit sort of finally got to my destination. Phone call happens, and it's that sudden release of the tension, I guess. And then, and we, as I said, go to sleep. But Linda was great, absolutely superb. She kept everybody informed, and she was wonderful. Well,
Linda won't appreciate this last question then, but I'm guessing you might be thinking about another challenge one day in the future. I get the feeling that this isn't it for you. Now you've had that taste of it.
No. As I explained earlier, there's a guy in America at the moment doing the Tour Divide, Rob Greaves, 2,500 miles over 4-5 weeks, bikepacking, unsupported. That's something I would like to do. But bikepacking's growing in popularity at the moment, and there's loads of trails in the UK, and there's one called the Hebridean Way, which is basically from Oban in Scotland. You take the ferry across. If you listeners don't know the Hebridean Way, it's just sort of the Western Isles there. But there's 10 islands you can hop, causeways, ferries, beautiful backdrop scenery. And that's one I would probably aspire to do soon, but don't tell Linda.
I've got a feeling Linda will find out about this. Thank you for coming in and sharing your story with us today. Remind us one last time how we can find out more on your Just Giving page.
Okay, so it's Team Endeavour Wheelchair Rugby. Go to the top of it, scroll to the bottom, you'll see various fundraising activities. Mine's at the top at the moment, John O Groats to Land's End, Phil Eastley, bikepacking. Go onto that and you'll see the Just Giving page there.
We're loving North Devon. This is The Voice.